Afternoon. Looking forward to this weekend. First and foremost, we'll welcome back over 400 former players of All for Lives in our reunion, so looking forward to seeing everyone for that. And then we'll also be honoring the 1965 team and all the things that team went through. It's pretty remarkable, so we'll honor them as well. In terms of injuries leading into this game, Sept has a stress fracture, so he'll be out an inordinate amount of time. I can't really put a time frame on it. It'll be basically how the foot heals and how he'll continue to progress. Max Arnold is questionable for the game. He kind of re-aggravated his knee a little bit yesterday. Ralph David Abernathy may be available for the game, so he did some good things for us in practice yesterday. And then we'll know a little bit more about Alton Howard's status today at practice and see how he does there as well. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Chuck in the front row here.
Coach, looking at this week's practice, has the coaches and the players, do you see signs that they've gotten past Saturday's loss?
I do. Obviously, it was a gut-wrenching loss. Anytime you invest as much as everyone does in our football family, it hurts. But everything in life is how you respond, how you get back up, and they can see the improvements that they're making week in and week out. They can see the progress. They can see things that maybe we weren't doing in week one, now we're doing. So I think that fuels you. If you're a competitor, you want another opportunity, and you don't have time because you're preparing for, obviously now, Arkansas. But the players have done a very, very good job of practice. I thought we had a good practice yesterday, and we'll have another good practice today. And our players have been resilient. In terms of the coaches, we have a bunker mentality. We live in here, and we go home and we come right back, and it's all about getting into the game plan and really getting around our players. So I've been very happy with the way they've responded. We have great character. We have great character in our program, from coaches to everyone in our organization. And you want them to hurt a little bit when they come in on Sunday because, you invest in it. And for us as coaches, this isn't just a game. It's our livelihood. It's what we do. And so you put everything, you put every ounce of energy into it. And so it's going to hurt, but I think we've responded very well.
Jimmy and Steve.
Butch, are you getting the play out of the nickelback position you'd like? And if not, are there any adjustments you can make there?
We continue to be work in progress there. We've moved some players around there. Malik has done some good things for us, but just like anything in our football program, we'll continue to compete at that spot, just like all the other positions as well. And I think with Justin Martin being able to do some good things, it allows us some flexibility to move some other individuals. And the nickel position is a unique position in and of itself. I think it's one of the most difficult positions in all of football because of what it requires from a skill set, from a mental standpoint as well, and the different nuances that go into that position. Malik has done some good things for us, but again, we're going to always work to always compete and improve in everything that we do.
Steve.
You think Arkansas, you think the running game, you think that tight end they have a wide receiver, I think Drew Morgan, who's put up really good numbers the last couple of weeks. Just on film, what sticks out about that guy?
Well, first of all, great length, can go up, play the ball in the air, very explosive. Like we talked about on Monday, they have, maybe the premier tight end in all of college football. They will play a long time on Sundays. I think Brandon Allen has developed into one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So I think they've done some good jobs schematically. If they challenge you, they challenge you with base defense and some different things. And like Jimmy brought up with the nickel, some different things in terms of formations and personnel groupings. And then you add Collins and you add a big offensive line, very, very talented. Nobody's brought this up yet, but I believe they've punted 7 times all year. So your possessions are going to be very, very minimal on offense. So it's taking advantage of those possessions. And this is a game that our players have never been in terms of the flavor of the game, the style of the game, everything that the game's going to be about. It's going to be very physical, but they do a great job with throwing the football with bubbles, quick screens, cross-country routes, downfield, 4 verticals. They have everything in their system, and they have players that execute it. They've just fallen a little short, but they're very, very talented.
Heather, then Brent, then Wes.
Butch, you started practice yesterday with the Circle of Life drill. What do you like about starting practice off that way? And how can you tell, like, how is practice different on the days that you go with that first and when you don't?
We're going to start off today with the media Circle of Life, and I get to pick them. So make sure you bring your video cameras. No, just energy, excitement. I think our players look forward to it. Kind of gets the energy going in practice. Sometimes players will come up to me and say, hey coach, can we start with Circle of Life, or hey, I want to start. It's just a program mentality, attitude, and I know our players like it, and it gets them excited.
Brent.
Coach, when you look at the fact that it's limited possessions, do you have to be careful that your offense doesn't press, or how do you manage a game differently when you know you may only touch the ball 7, 8, 9 possessions in a game?
Well, you're exactly right. It's going to be patience, and you cannot have self-inflicted wounds. You can't have pre-snap penalties. You can't turn the football over, and they have to understand that every possession does count, and you can't panic when you're standing on the sidelines. This is a game where mixed downs, early downs are very, very critical, and you look at what Arkansas has been able to do on early downs. They've owned early downs. And that's why they've punted the few times that they have. So it's going to be complementary football. I know I say that a lot, but this is a game, again, of complementary football, being patient and not getting in a panic mode. When you're sitting, I believe Texas A&M had 16 plays in the first half last week. So again, it's not beating yourself and having to drive the football, and you can't kick field goals. You need to score touchdowns.
Wes. Troy, Dustin, John Rice. Troy.
What have you seen from Derek Barnett through the first 4 games? And do you think he got a little bit more attention Saturday because of Kirby now?
Well, they're always going to account for him and know where he's at because he's a very, very good football player. Derek continues to grow and progress. Early on he was set back with some injuries here and there, but he's a great, great competitor. He's a very, very good football player, and it's very, very important to him. And part of elevating your game is you're going to have the attention of your opponents, whether it's them keeping a tight end in to double team you, or chipping with a running back, or even nudging the tight end out on a pass route. Those are all things that really are a compliment to him, and teams have been doing that. But he's a great, great competitor, and I know he holds himself in terms of accountability of his style of play to a very high standard. He takes great pride in his performance.
Dustin and John.
Coach, you talked about the flavor of this game being different. Obviously, you're going to see a lot more inside run and tight end sets, fullbacks than you usually see. Requires some guys that haven't played a lot to get in there, guys like Austin Smith. How ready are those guys for playing the style of game that they're going to see?
Well, you're exactly right, Dustin. It does change. It changes some of your personnel grouping. So we'll have some youngsters that haven't been on the field as much, Austin Smith being one of those. Austin has worked very, very hard. He had a very good week of preparation. We'll also do some things with Kenny Bynum and some of our other linebackers as well. But it is different, but it's something that we have practiced in spring football. We practiced it in all of training camp just about every day. So it's not something that all of a sudden is very foreign to our football team, and we've seen, little small sample sizes of it, through the first 4 games, so we have seen some of that. But you are exactly right. We'll have some individuals playing more extended plays than they have in the past.
John.
Butch, do you have experiences in your previous stops as a head coach with dealing with multiple losses like this within the same season? And if so, what'd you do then, and what do you apply now?
We have. You stay the course. You be consistent in your approach, and it's all about constant and never-ending improvement. And you can't let any negativity, clutter, or distraction creep in and permeate throughout your football program. You can't allow that to happen. And that's a challenge in today's world of social media, not for the coaches, but for our football players. And especially being a young football team, this is all new to them, so you have to rely on your older players. You look at last year, we have great evidence, just like Arkansas with the way they finished. We won 4 out of 5, won a bowl championship. It's the first time that's been done here in a long time, and I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, the first time it's done where we haven't played in a SEC championship game since 1997, I believe. So there's a lot of firsts that you go back, but they see the progress. We won a number of championships, losing 2 in a row. And remember, I said it when we ventured on this journey in August, the teams and the football programs that can manage the natural adversities that a long football season brings about are the ones that like their body of work when it's all said and done. And we continue to improve. Obviously, we have to make great strides in moving forward. It all starts with the coaching staff. It starts with me. I'm responsible for everything, but it's everyone, and I've seen that. And so you just put your head down and keep grinding. But we won 4 championships in 8 years now. This will be, and I want to say a couple times we started and had some very devastating losses that you never forget. And that's the thing in coaching is, the wins are never as high as the lows of the losses. And that's something that they live with you. You forget about the wins, you never forget about the losses. And they stay with you and you learn from them. But I've been very proud of our players. I think they've handled everything very well. They've been very resilient. And we're responsible for what we create, and we're looking forward to Saturday.
Wes, Jimmy, Sept, and then 2 more.
Which, how surprised, if at all surprised, have you been with Trevor Daniel? It looked like even in that game Saturday, there were 2 or 3 really high-pressure kicks, and he seemed to execute them really well.
Wes, I appreciate you bringing him up because you want a story to write about Trevor Daniel. A walk-on comes into this football program and continues, and we talk about getting better, he defines that. He gets better each and every day. He has great confidence right now. He's a reason why we're having some success on our punt team. He's direct correlation to it. His op times, he's been consistently at about a 1.85, 1.9, which is outstanding. He's had great kick placement, and you're right, he walks into a stressful situation in the Florida game and does a great job of getting rid of the football and kick placement as well. Now we know Arkansas is going to come after the punt a few times. We understand that. We have to do a great job of protecting it and covering it. But he's been a great story for us, and I've been very, very proud of him.
Jimmy, Sept, Chuck, and Danny, and that'll be it.
Which I believe Arkansas gives up less than 100 yards rushing per game. What makes their run defense so effective?
Well, I think first of all, it's an overall program philosophy. They live their run each and every day. Their inside drills probably go about 20 minutes long, and they want to run the football on offense. And obviously, you stop the run on defense, just like our philosophy is. But they're big up front on both sides of the football. They're very, very physical, and they work on it a lot, just like all new teams. But I think it's the physicality of their front. Their linebackers are downhill linebackers, and then they have a veteran group in the secondary, so they're able to do some different things schematically in terms of coverage and getting their safeties involved in the run game. They did play more man coverage in the Texas A&M game than they had in previous games. So I know they have a lot of confidence in their back end, so they're able to do some different things up front. But quite simply, they're big, they're physical, and they're very strong.
Sept, Danny, and Chuck.
Coach, since you've been here, you talk a lot about science and the numbers and percentages and stuff. During a game specifically, how do you balance using the analytics as opposed to just going with your gut sometimes in the flow of the game?
We don't use analytics during the game. That's all leading up to the game, and all that is that's a support system for us. Obviously you have to make great decisions. You have to make educated decisions, and I would say 99% of most decisions that are made our game day are done in a controlled environment in a staff meeting room. We have a plan in place that we work each and every week in terms of our preparation that starts on Sunday and goes all the way till Friday morning. So, most situations are done that way. which most programs do that way. We don't just go out there and make a decision by chance. They've usually been rehearsed, and sometimes is a gut feel. You know, the 4th and 2 call was a gut feel. We knew we wanted to do it at some point in time, but it was a gut feel for what we needed at that particular moment, at that particular stage of the game in terms of momentum. So you do rely on gut instinct at times, but everything we do is also discussed and talked about very, very thoroughly.
Danny in the back.
Coach, Josh didn't throw an interception last week against one of the best secondaries in the country, but he did fumble 3 times. What are you doing to address his ball security carrying the football?
It starts in practice with our maximum 1 period, and it's something that we do every day in terms of ball security. We stress it each and every day. We'll continue to stress it, and you know, they understand. And I think, you know, some of the things when you carry the football and you run the football, those things are going to happen. We don't want them to happen. The great thing is you know, they didn't get them, but one. I think he's done a good job all season long of protecting the football, particularly when he's run the football. But that's something that we talk about, we stress, even to a point. You guys hear the word all the time, chin. You know, when you go to different programs, some programs talk about 4 points of pressure on the football. Some talk about 5 points of pressure on the football. Heather's going to, next press conference, is going to talk about the 5 points of pressure. So that's her homework assignment. But what we've done is we've tried to eliminate the learning curve, and we say one word, chin the ball. And chin the ball stands for the points of pressure, keeping it high and tight, all those things to make it an even more point of emphasis. So he's done a good job, and we'll continue to work on that.
Last one with Chuck.
Coach, over here. Coach Belima said that both teams needed this win. Do you consider this a must-win game?
I do. I consider every game a must-win. When you're in this conference and when you're competing, every game we play is a must-win. That's the approach that we take, just like this is the most important game because it's the next game. But the way I approach every game is it's a must-win. And that's why every game is critical.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Players coming up momentarily.
Heather?